Welcome to the Mediocre to Magnificent podcast. I'm your co-host, Braxton Matson, and your host, Lee A. Williams, and I just want to say thank you for tuning in because you are what makes this pure magnificence. You are the ripple effect of magnificence, and we are going to bring you a message that will give you insight, inspire you, motivate you, and challenge you to not only grow in your magnificence, but let you know that you are magnificent in everything you do. So stay tuned, you don't want to miss it. Lee, man,
Yes, sir.
how you doing?
Magnificent.
That's what I like to hear, man.
Of course. I got
I love to hear
man.
No,
I
you
mean-
surprised me, man.
Oh, really?
You surprised me,
Yeah.
yeah, because we haven't done Isn't Me Orn. I can't even remember.
Been too long, really?
It's been too long.
Well, I just thought about it, and it might.
You know, I got to be more intentional about that because I probably have quite a few Isn't Me
You
Wars.
probably got to write them down when it happens.
Yeah,
Because if you don't write it down when it happens,
you're gonna forget. Man.
sometime for recording, you're gonna be like, "You got this, bro?" Nah. But we're having meetups, man,
Oh,
and people actually join the meetup and it's like, oh yeah, sure. And you look into it, like, yeah, they'll be a good fit. Let them join the meetup. And then it happens to be, so I don't know if it's just the name of the meetup or the activity that we're doing. So then they join the actual group. Then they end up RSVPing for the actual, and then they don't show.
Yeah.
But the thought process of what the Isn't Me Or is like, okay, you join, you saw the event.
And you accepted.
You RSVP'd for the event.
Yeah.
After I already accepted you. And then you don't show. The Isn't Me Or is like, Isn't Me Or is that mediocre? At what point do you and I'm not being naive to say that there might be some things that has transpired between the last 2 to 3 hours of you wanting to be involved with this. So I get it. But it's happened more than once. So I'm like, what are people doing?
Yeah.
Have we gotten to the place in our lives that that's how we show up? But that might tie into the topic today.
I think it will, man.
Yeah. So
that's a good one.
The Isn't Me Or actually happened after God had already said, hey, this is what I want you to talk about. So he brought it to my attention. It was like, hey man, son, if you were to ask some people, what's your reputation? What would they say? What would they say about you? So I'm like, oh, I don't know. Like I could want to believe like, oh, he's magnificent. You know?
But I know what you're gonna do.
Huh?
You're gonna want to know, so you're gonna do it.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, you ain't.
Yeah.
Don't tempt me with a good time. I'm gonna, I say, okay. What's my reputation? Let's ask.
Yeah. Let's just ask.
I asked some of the closest people in my life.
Yeah.
Well, hey, if I were to ask you, when you think of me,
what my reputation
is.
Yeah.
What would you say?
Oh, this is interesting. This makes me want to do like a Survey Monkey thing.
Oh, really?
For real.
You gonna do one?
Like I thought, I'm gonna do it. I don't know about Survey Monkey, but I may shoot it out.
Yeah. So I challenge people. That's wonderful. Like, you need to ask.
I mean,
people,
really, it really gives you some clarity on things.
Yeah. To say, okay, who in your life that's close to you, but don't ask the only people that's gonna. Ask some people that'll be like, yeah, hey man.
Yeah. They're gonna shoot you straight, kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Cause we need that.
Yeah.
So I text a couple people.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, probably more than a couple, but I text what I'm getting at. I text family, friends, clients, and like
Man, you got a whole
peers.
spectrum.
Yeah, it's not like, oh well, your family gonna boost you up and be like, "Oh, you're amazing," you know.
Yeah.
Clients like, okay, when you
Yeah.
so just to see like the variety of
and see. I'd love that because then you can see if there's any consistencies.
Right.
Yeah.
If there's
Or
something
inconsistencies.
like, or inconsistency, like this person says you're, and this other person is like, yeah, I don't
It's like I'm confused. Like,
what's going on? How is that? Are you show up one way with your friend, but then when it comes to your family, they done seen the real side.
That kind of hits with Is It Me Or in a way.
All right. So I'm just gonna run, and please just think about like this is not to say, oh, I actually had some pretty good responses, but we're gonna get to the point, and we're gonna tie it in to what our reputation should be based on. So the challenge is just to give you insight to say, hey, are you showing up? Are you honoring your message? And are you being in the kingdom the way you're called to be?
God called you to be.
Or are you falling short? So here we are. One person said committed, loyal, intelligent, caring, destined for continued greatness. I'm like, so it's some of it you got to understand. It's humbling. You're like, man, this person thinks of me like this. Like, okay, wow,
man.
Then you have another person said trustworthy, man of integrity.
Ooh.
Then you have
the vocabulary.
A person said, watch this. You're gonna like this. Solid and unquestionable.
Oh.
Right. Now these are all. I'm keeping the people anonymous.
Right.
But I've already went through a couple categories. If you just so you know.
Right.
Another person, godly man and a man of his word. Another person said solid. That's happened. That's more than once.
Yeah, that's more than once.
Another person said stellar.
Stellar. I like that one.
Second to none. Unmatched. Incomparable. Has a magnificent reputation.
Man.
One person said consistent, accountable, an amazing friend, wonderful mentor, a magnificent person to have in your life. Like this is, another person said.
Man, you talking about boosting yourself.
Wonderful reputation.
Yeah.
Now this.
You don't want to get to that point, but it's humbling. It's very humbling. Yeah.
I take this seriously because I really want to show up a certain way in the world.
Right.
But then to have people actually acknowledge that and say, like, hey, this is for real.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they heard it. So the one person said you have a wonderful reputation. Another person said, when I think of you, your reputation is a leader, strength, respectful. You genuinely care about people, and you have a sense of humility and a peace about you. So then you're like, where do you go from there? But the thought process is to literally, like, for real. I know I said a lot of people. If you can get to 10, the closest people, you can have some friends, you can have some family, you can have some coworkers, you can have some associate, peer, like, and just see.
Yeah.
Like, what's my
just
reputation?
See where it's at.
And like literally make the disclaimer, like, hey, I just really want to know. Right. Because it takes me back to a book I read, The 360-Degree Leader. It's like, not only do you want to get the feedback from higher, you want to get it from lower, and you want to get it from equal to. So it ends up being really like, if you want to show up a certain way, like it takes a different person to say, hey, I'm talking I'm magnificent. I'm honoring my message. I'm refusing to be mediocre. I'm
right.
Hustling back to the basics. But then to say, hey, do I really show up like this?
Or are you like that?
A hypocrite? Yeah. That's probably why the last episode, I'm like, man, that rubs me wrong.
That rubs me wrong, yeah.
Because it's like, we want to be in line. But what do we want to be in line with? And then now that's where we're going to go. Now, are you going to do this?
Yeah.
You're going to do it?
I'm going to do it.
And whoever listens, y'all do this. Don't play with this. Do this. Because sometimes we think that it's like, okay, well, if you're one of those people that doesn't get some of that stuff back, if you might get back like, oh man, you're a bum. And I'm just saying bum to be drastic.
Right.
Like, oh, you're a bum. It's like, man, really? Like, that's how I show up? It's like, where that came from? What made you say bum? Right. And I'm just being silly. But that will give you an opportunity to face that.
Yeah, I really, because Because like you send it out to people and you get a different result than what you were expecting.
Yeah.
How do you take that?
And you were actually one of the people that I sent it to.
Yeah.
So just you might be able to speak for just a second before we get into this other side of it, of how you felt as a person receiving that, like, oh man, because I sent it out, like I was just like boom, 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 sending it.
Because you're getting you want the feedback.
But if you like, just for this, as the fastest response was you.
Yeah.
And when you were like, boom, I was like, oh wow. Like no hesitation. Boom.
Well, because we talked about it.
Yeah.
And there's something about like if you're in tune with yourself, how you feel or stuff. Typically, the first thing that pops in your head is really truly what you're thinking.
You have to deal with.
You have to handle that. And so, like when you texted that, I was like, the first simplest word I could think of that made sense. Was solid.
Yeah.
And that means so much more than just the word.
Yeah.
I mean, I could go into detail.
Oh yeah.
But solid is like, man, like it's a rock. It's a foundation. Like boom.
And if you think about that,
I mean, come on.
Especially according to the scripture with the rock, who the rock is.
I mean,
so and then you have to know man language. Like, so if a man, let's be real. If a man's like, oh man, you're solid. Like that's a different deal.
That's a different,
So like a woman's not going to necessarily. I mean, it could be, but 9 times out of 10 it's like, oh, he's solid. Like that's not coming from her. But to know the lingo and be like, oh yeah. But so this. What about this? So this is where. So even though I felt good about, oh man, I got some the feedback. I asked, the feedback's pretty. It's cool. I'm showing up. But we're all striving for magnificence. Yeah. So we're all wanting to go and achieve the next level, whatever that is.
All right.
For you. So if I say, you're the head, not the tail, that's your reputation. And you're like, well, let's back it up. Deuteronomy 28:13. The Lord will make you the head, not the tail, if you pay attention to the commandments of the Lord your God that I give you this day and carefully follow them. You will always be at the top, never at the bottom.
I love that because it's like, it gives you almost instruction in a way. And it's like, you're your head, not the tail, but there is still growth. Like there's always growth.
It's always growth.
And that scripture right there.
Yeah. So it's like, your reputation is, you're the head.
Yeah.
Not the tail.
Not the tail.
Please understand where we're going. This ain't, boost Lee up.
Yeah.
But we all have the opportunity to be the head.
Right.
And not the tail. Mm-hmm. What if I say, you have a reputation of being a royal priesthood? So I'm telling the scriptures today because I want you to go read them.
Right.
Because this should be your reputation.
Yeah.
1 Peter 2:9. But ye are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, and holy nation, a peculiar people, that ye should show forth the praises of him who hath called you out of darkness into his marvelous light. Could you imagine if someone said, hey, what's my reputation? You said, man, you a royal priesthood.
Like who?
A chosen generation.
That's different.
Even I'm saying like, okay, I felt wonderful, solid. Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah.
But this is different.
That is different. The way that is worded is different.
This is where we're going. This is what we want.
Yeah.
This is what we say we want. So what are you basing your reputation on? So then we have another one I want you to think on. Lender, not the borrower.
Ooh. Yeah.
Deuteronomy 15:6. For the Lord thy God blesses thee, as he promised thee. And thou shalt lend unto many nations, but thou shalt not borrow. And thou shalt reign over many nations, but they shall not reign over thee.
Different level.
Lender, not the borrower. Like, oh, you have the reputation. You're the lender.
Yeah.
You're the bank. Let's say it in
you're the bank.
Let's say it in a different term, so people really take it. You're the bank.
You're the bank.
You're not in bondage.
Ooh, there we go.
How do you want to word? That's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So then we go right on to, what if I say this? You have a reputation of this. To whom much is given, much is required. You're like, Lee, how are you connecting that? Well, connection. Oh, Lee, I'm talking about mediocre to magnificent.
Yeah.
I am magnificent. I wear a shirt that says I am magnificent. Man.
Yeah.
Like, you wear a shirt that says magnificence is upon you.
Yeah.
And then we're going to say, to whom much is given, much is
Much
required.
is required.
When you say magnificence upon you, what are we talking about?
Mm-hmm.
So let's see. But he that knew not and did not commit things worthy of stripes shall be beaten with few stripes. For unto whosoever much is given, of him shall be much required. And to whom men have committed much, of him they will ask the more.
Mm.
So if you're the person that's like, oh man, if I show up a way that's like a person said, you're a magnificent person to have in my life. And it's like, do you think other people would want to have me in my life? But then you're like, you're just saying, okay, well, as much is given, is like,
Much is required.
It's required. Yeah. Like that, there's a certain way you got to show up.
Right. Yeah.
Like you can't play with that.
Mm-mm.
And then this one ties it in better to tie this one in. He who is faithful with a few things, I will make ruler over many.
Right.
So who is faithful of a few relationships?
Yeah.
A few clients, a few friends, a few dollars.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you take it how you want. So that's, I didn't think I said the scripture. To whom much is given, much is required. Luke 12:48.
Yeah.
Who is faithful with a few things, I will make ruler over many, is Matthew 25:21.
Mm-hmm.
So he said, his Lord said unto him, well done, thou good and faithful servant. Thou hast been faithful over a few things, and I will make thee ruler over many things. Into the joy of thy Lord. So can you imagine, it's like, man, your reputation is, you're a ruler over many things. So like, that's the conversation. That's the person I have to say, Lord, what's my reputation?
Yeah.
Lord, does my reputation line up with you and your word?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I know I did it figuratively with the people that I know, love, and trust, that know me the most, the closest to me. But that's who we really got to ask.
Yeah.
Lord, what's my reputation? And am I giving you glory, and am I honoring you, and am I showing up
right
the way I want to show up?
You'll see that through the reputation.
Am I consistent? Am I in line? Or am I off base?
Yeah.
So then we go right into this. Their man's treasure is there, his heart will be also.
Yeah.
Look how you look.
That's different, man. That's different. I know what that. Yeah.
When you're sitting there looking at me, you go through this. You know this ain't me.
Yeah. It's different, man.
Their man's treasure is there, his heart will be also. And I just said what I said about, Lord, what's my reputation?
Yeah.
Where's your heart at?
Right.
Where's your heart? Because that's where your treasure will be. And if you have that treasure, then you'll be solid. Like my son was solid. Mm-hmm. Be the cornerstone. Be the rock.
Yep.
And that's
huge, man.
So at what point, like, please take heed to this. This might be one that you have to listen back. This one might have to get your word out and flip through the pages, get some scripture.
Do some info.
Because a lot of time I just said the main scripture, like the one-liner, but I don't want
really read through the whole chapter.
Yeah, I don't want
really read through the whole chapter.
Just this service that really anchors and solidifies the whole. Yeah. So that's why I was willing to like say the scripture, because you got to go through it, but then you're like, man, yeah, that's what I need to stand for. Right. And that's what I need to. So even with me, like, thank God that I actually was able to get some good responses, to humble myself, to be like, man, I really do show up. But to say to myself, there's still more. Mm-hmm. but there's always going to be more. But then to be realistic, to know what's the reputation with God and how are you showing up. And is he going to continue to use you and make you all those things?
Yeah. That's what
the scripture said.
That last scripture you said, I mean, that's a key, that's a foundational thing right there.
Man.
Yeah.
So what's your reputation, man?
Yeah.
I know but you said you're gonna do it.
I'm gonna do it. I don't know if I want to do it when we air this or do it before though. I'm kind of thinking that through.
Yeah,
I think I'm just gonna do it when I feel like.
Yeah, just do it.
I might just do it right off the head.
Yeah, when people hear it, they do it.
Chain reaction, man.
Men, women, children. Just do it. Just see. And, don't get caught
up in it.
Yeah.
Just really reflect on it and take it to God. Like really, take it to God.
Say like, man, I didn't know if you were one of the people that end up being like, man, I didn't know I was showing up like that.
Yeah.
And the reason why I did that version is because I might say this and the people were like, but if God like, yes, I'm like, hey man, like for what I gave you and what I instilled in you and what I created you to be, you got some work to do.
Right.
You know,
right.
I mean,
yeah, it's like a barometer.
They're telling you like, but hey, buddy.
Yeah.
But we have to know like you were here for a time such as this. So let me just read it one more time and then we'll get out of here. People know the assignment. You're the head, not the tail. A chosen generation, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, a peculiar people. The lender, not the borrower. To whom much is given, much is required. He who is faithful with a few things, I will make ruler over many. There a man's treasure is, there his heart will be also. What's your reputation?
Mic drop.
Till next time.
This is your co-host here, Braxton Matson, and Lee and I just want to say thank you so much for tuning into this episode. We hope you've enjoyed it just as much as we did making it, but we couldn't do it without you. So please hit that like button, leave us a rating, leave us a review. Let us know what topic or subject that you would like us to talk about in your journey from mediocre to magnificent. But most of all, share it. Be the ripple effect of magnificence and know that you are magnificent in everything you do. Till next time.